Hello, everybody. Welcome into the show. My microphone turned off, and I don't know why, but it's okay, because I'm not gone. I'm here. Hello, and welcome to Mayday, a show about the show. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. It turns out that I'm blind, and I actually need glasses. I went and got an eye exam recently, and they were like, hey, you're right, you can't see very well, but also you're not that far above the limit for the DMV for driving. So these are my prescriptions. These are not fake, these are real. I don't know how long I will be wearing them. I know we have a little bit of a glare here. There's a lot of lights in my face. That is what it is. So they might come off at some point, but I wanted to unveil them to you either way. Hello. Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. We have a lot to chat about today because baseball has been happening for another glorious week, and we are now full steam ahead on the playoff races. So many things to talk about, so many things to cover, some interesting stories to chat, some changes to the show. So without further ado, we're just going to go right into it. As always, first hour here on Foul Territory, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Foul Territory channel. Pushing very, very hard here for 300,000 subscriptions. I think it's a noble goal to try to get to that by the end of the regular season. 20,000 in 3 weeks? That's possible. Let's do it. But you can also go follow me over at Trevor May Baseball, where I'm going to be doing hour 2. So once we're done here in the first hour, we'll be going over there. This is the scripted section, and then over there is more kind of like a stream. So if you want to ask questions and things, that's the best place to do it. Okay? So let's get right into our first story of the day here on September 10th for Mayday. September 10th, 2025. So many things. So many things. Let's just jump right in. Deep end. Pool. Let's talk a little bit about the Cy Young and maybe figure out whether or not this gentleman, a reliever, could win himself that coveted pitching award. Now, we know that the Baseball Writers Association of America has decided that they're Never fear, I have a solution. I always do. Something is happening with the battery pack that I'm using. It seems like it might be dead. So right back into it. The Baseball Writers Association of America has decided that there will be a brand new Reliever of the Year award voted on by them every year. That is exciting for many reasons that I will talk about in just one moment. I left the door open. I'm sorry. Welcome to this professional show put on by one guy in a garage. Okay. And relievers are getting more love than they would normally get, which I love. But that got me thinking. This gentleman, who is having quite the year for a reliever, could be potentially in the running for the other biggest prize that is out there for pitchers, the Cy Young Award. As you know, this traditionally goes to a starting pitcher because, one, they throw way more innings, they affect way more games, and it's so very hard to be as valuable as a closer as a starter would be. But this is not without precedent, okay? This has happened before. The two most recent examples of this are these two gentlemen. 1992, Dennis Eckersley took it home for the Oakland Athletics, And in 2003, probably the most famous example, Eric Gagne won it for the LA Dodgers over two guys you may have heard of, Mark Pryor and Jason Schmidt. Jason Schmidt is interesting for another reason, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So, Aroldis Chapman, he is probably far and away right now the most dominant guy, at least dominant, maybe the most reliable back-end bullpen guy in both leagues, okay? If you would have told me this going in March, I probably would have said you're crazy, but there's no denying that he is absolutely filthy. Since July 23rd, which was the last time he gave up a hit, he has faced 50 straight hitters without allowing a hit. 50. So just to put that in perspective, that's almost 2 games, 16.2 innings without giving up a hit. Back-to-back no-hitters as a closer. And this isn't just, you're a starter and you get going on a roll. You can do that all in one day. This is getting up and down for over almost 6 weeks and not giving up a hit. Now, that is a all-time record for anyone, facing that many hitters in a row without giving up a hit. Actually, I believe for relievers. I think it's a reliever. I'll get fact check on this probably. So either way, very impressive. It is a record, one of the two. If it's just reliever, still impressive. But in that time, he's thrown 201 pitches, struck out 21 in 17 appearances. So 17 times he has gotten up, slept, pitched again later, and still didn't give up a hit. And it's one of the biggest reasons that I'm even having this conversation with you at all. Now, you may be asking yourself, wow, how after 16 years, because this is his 16th year in the major leagues, the man is 37 years old, and he has been in the major leagues for almost over a decade and a half, which is already impressive on top. But why is it right now he is the best version of himself? Because this isn't usually how aging goes. He's hit 102 miles an hour this year. That is insane. That's insane. I'm 35. I'm trying to throw 100. I'm struggling to hit 95. So for this guy to do this, I'm obviously speechless. But there is one big reason that he has been as effective as he has. So recently was doom scrolling through the old internet, as most of us do, and I came upon this post, which this is from Reddit, but it was a post from Pitching Ninja, where Buster Olney was on his show. They were having a conversation about Aroldis Chapman, where he told this story. A spring training pitch called by Connor Wong over PitchCom for an inside fastball made Chapman realize he's always fired his 100 mile an hour stuff and trusted the velocity, never looking to locate it at all, just to throw it towards that box that you see on TV. So, in layman's terms, he's never thought to aim. He just threw it for a strike. So this is the difference. We talked about this a lot. This is the difference between command and control. He wanted control. When he came up, he was a starter. So here's where I think this mindset came from. He was so electric at that time when he first came up 16 years ago in 2009. This is before everyone was throwing 1 billion miles an hour too, so he was even more of a crazy person. At that time, they were trying to make him a starter when he was with the Cincinnati Reds. When that happened, back in the day, or back about that time, because I was also playing pro ball, coaches tended to say, hey man, don't worry so much about being pinpoint and just worry about getting the ball over the plate. He took that and he ran with it. And then he had success. And then he just kept doing that forever. And only recently he's had to think about, wow, maybe I got to locate a little bit better, or the just throw to the plate isn't working. Then Connor Wong brought him back with a simple button on a PitchCom. I was out there doing freaking calculus and geometry just to get a guy out, and this gentleman has been saying strike to his head. That's it. That just goes to show you, guys like Aroldis Chapman and Shohei Ohtani, some people are just freaks. Some people are just better than us. Maybe some people are just better. And so the key to his success this year, to giving up no hits and 50 hitters, has been trying to locate. which just makes me want to puke, frankly. So that's just something I needed to bring up. But what I really want to do is look back at whether or not he can win the Cy Young and use one of the precedents we talked about before, Eric Gagne, to see how that year, 2003, compared with this year and the value that this gentleman is adding to his team and what Gagne added to the Dodgers. And what it comes down to, and what a lot of these things come down to, especially when it comes to award, is the stories. What is going on in the game that makes choosing that guy to be that, win that award so compelling? When you're putting a starter versus a reliever, what makes that reliever such a hard guy to vote against? That is what we come down to. And I think we just may have one of those situations happening. And I think that Aroldis Chapman just may be our Cy Young. Let me explain, okay? So let's talk a little bit about 2003 and this gentleman, Eric Gagne, okay? Eric Gagne beat out Mark Pryor, as I mentioned before, who was with the Cubs at the time. And he beat out Jason Schmidt, who was with the San Francisco Giants, who later signed with the LA Dodgers. And he is also an alumni of my alma mater, Kelso High School. We're the two major league pitchers ever from the school, which just so happens he's from the same small town in Washington that I'm from. So go figure. Coincidence? Yes, it definitely is a coincidence. Okay, so let's compare. Let's go look at this guy's stat line and see what he did and why they gave it to him that year. Okay, so this is Eric Gagne in 2023. He was 2-3, whatever. Relievers don't care about that. With a 1.2 ERA, but he was 55 for 55 in save opportunities. This is going to be the big thing. So just hold that in your head. He threw 82 innings. He struck out 137. That's incredible. And he had a .692 whip, and he struck out 15 per 9. So all of those things combined are just dominance, okay? Striking out 15 per 9 is ridiculous. Right now, Aroldis Chapman is at 13.25. That's also very high, but 15's like, that's 2022 Edwin Diaz, okay? But the big thing here is 82 innings and the 137 strikeout number. Relievers just aren't going to get to that number because we just are never throw that many innings. It's just not smart to do so, okay? And Gagne, there's an argument to be made that because he threw so many innings for this 3-year stretch, because he was 27 when he won this, from when he was 26 to 28, from 02 to 04, he threw so many innings that after that he just wasn't effective. I think he got like 16 saves for the rest of his career. But the big reason he won the Cy Young that year is because of this saves number right here. 55 for 55. So why is that significant? One, that is the first time in history anyone with more than 20 saves has been perfect in save opportunities. And he did it 55 times. So he set an all-time record in something, and it happened to be save opportunities and saves converted being the same number. No one had ever done it. Now, since that time, 3 more gentlemen have done it. Jose Valverde did it in 2011. We've had Brad Lidge did it in 2008. And we had, more recently, Zach Britton did it, I believe, in 2018. So we've had 3 more guys do it since, but nobody's ever gotten 55 perfect. I believe those other numbers were in the 40s. Still very impressive, but this is still the record to this day. So he set an all-time record. That's very important, okay? Now let's look at Mark Pryor and Jason Schmidt, who he beat out, because this is important. This is going to come up, okay? So this is Mark Pryor. He went 18-6. He had a 2.43. He had 211 innings thrown, 245 strikeouts, a 1-1 whip. He walked a few more guys and actually gave up a little bit more hits than you would think, and had a 7.4 WAR. Now, we don't compare WAR because relievers, I bet you Gagne had like a 3-1 WAR that year. So this doesn't compare. You just can't compare WAR across those 2 different pitching roles. It's impossible. It shouldn't factor in, and that's going to be important one going back to Chapman, okay? Okay, let's look at Schmidt. So this is Jason Schmidt. He was 17-5. He led all pitchers with the 2.34 ERA. He threw 207.2 innings, but he had 208 strikeouts. Not as dominant as Pryor. So I don't disagree with the order in which these guys went 1, 2, and 3. The WHIP was a sub-1, also the lowest in the league, and he had 7.7 WAR, which Good for him. He also was the ace for a first-place San Francisco Giants team that won 100 games. That's also important, okay? But it didn't seem to really make a difference this year because Eric Gagne got 24 of the 32 number one votes. First place. Like, he won easy. It wasn't close, right? Wasn't even close, which is amazing to the point where I was like, the save thing can't be that big of a deal. So here's the reasons why I think they decided to go with him. One, he was completely dominant, struck out 2 per inning, okay? So, like, he comes in the game, not only is he going to end it, there's strikeouts galore, right? Strikeouts in a time where 9 per 9, 1 per inning was high. So, like, outside of, like, Randy Johnson and, like, Roger Clemens, like, guys were, and Pedro, like, there wasn't guys dominant like this. This was dominant at a level that no one had seen before. He's the first ever to do something like go 55 for 55, but the Dodgers only won 85 games that year. So he saved 55 of his team's 85 wins. That's 65% of their total wins were saved by this guy. So when a team can't score runs and is just trying to go 85 and 77, if you got a closer who converts every single time for almost 60 games, that the value to that team is insane. And I think that is another huge reason. Like, they're looking at how valuable is this guy to his team? Very valuable, because they didn't even make the playoffs. The Dodgers didn't make the playoffs this year. And like I mentioned before, the other 2 teams both won their divisions. The Cubs with Pryor and San Francisco with Schmidt, they both won their divisions, okay? Interestingly enough, Mark Pryor, the second place guy, ended the season after July 1st. He was 10-1 with a 1.5 and still lost it to Gagne. So that's the big controversy at this point. Not only did he have a great year, he was so incredible going up, because it does matter how you end on the voting, okay? So he was getting chased, and they decided to go with Gagne because the story of setting the record and being that dominant for that long, that story was just more compelling. It was also something different. It had been a while. It had been 11 years since a reliever won it. So those 2 things combined come together to kind of create the perfect storm to have a reliever win it. And I think we have that same situation happening this year. So let's get into that. Let's talk a little bit why I think Chapman might be able to do it this year, even though the numbers will be a little bit different because relievers are protected a little bit more than have been. So let's talk about Aroldis Chapman and what his year has looked like so far this year, okay? So as of right now, he's still on his hitless streak. He is 4-2. He's got a .98 ERA, 57 innings. Again, he's not going to get to 82. There's not enough time. But he's only given up 21 hits. He's got a .64 whip, which is better than Gagne's, and hitters are hitting 113 against him. He struck out 87, but he's 29 for 31 saves. So these 2 numbers are lower than Gagne, not even comparable, but he has converted, and he's converted a bunch in a row, obviously, and his strikeout numbers are higher, okay? But there are some thresholds I think we need to hit before. Once again, there's 2 starting pitchers that are in the running for this award, okay? 2 main guys in the front runners, and they have been pretty much all year, okay? We got Tarek Skubal, and we got Aroldis Chapman's teammate, Garrett Crochet. Now let's go look at their numbers and see how they compare. So this is Tarek Skubal, 13-4. He's got a 2.1. That's pretty good. He's at 180 innings pitched. He's on pace for 205, 126 hits allowed, 195 batting average against, and 222 strikeouts for 11.1 K per 9. Very, very dominant. We all know Skubal's been exceptionally dominant. His team is also in first place, but he's just kind of been doing it all year, and he won the Cy Young last year. That's going to be important. Crochet, on the other hand, is 15-5 with a 2.57 ERA. In terms of ERA, he's half a run behind, but innings, almost the same. They're on pace for almost the same amount of innings. He's given up a little more hits, batting average a little higher, but strikeouts is about the same as well. So in this context, I would say Tarek Skubal's got a nice buffer on Crochet because he's just a little bit better in every category. That said, though, Crochet is a very solid third place. The problem is he's on the same team as Aroldis Chapman. So in order for things to happen for Chapman in a way that would get him more in the running for the Cy Young, Garrett Crochet will probably have to throw well. also, right? So let's talk a little bit about what would need to happen, because I've written down some things that I think needs to happen in order for Aroldis Chapman to be considered to win this award. All right? And we might have a perfect storm on our hands. So this is my hypothetical situation to get Aroldis Chapman to Cy Young. The Red Sox are currently in third place, but they're only in the East. But I believe they're one game behind the Yankees, or tied even, because I believe they won and lost. I did this 2 days ago. I prepared this. So they're very close to the Yankees. That can flip either way. And then both teams are only a couple games behind the Blue Jays, and they play each other again. So there's a legitimate chance that the Red Sox can make a run here, but they need to either take second in their division and end really strong, or they need to win their division, and they need to do it while Aroldis Chapman saves at least 6 more games. He needs 35 saves. He needs 35 saves, and he needs about at least 68 appearances. We got to get our innings up to like 65. We got to get to 65 innings. If we don't get to 65 innings, we're not going to be enough. So a lot of things need to happen there, but it's entirely doable. I believe there's 17 games left. So they're in a race. They want to solidify. They're going to throw him whenever he gets a chance. He's been rested lately, so this is entirely possible. If he continues his streak, that'll just sweeten this pie even more. So if Aroldis Chapman finishes this year not having allowed a hit since July 23rd, basically since coming back from the All-Star break, if you can say, I didn't give up a hit in the second half, that may just push him to the front of this pile, because the story is just too juicy. You combine that with the fact that Tarik Skubal already won one last year. There might just be enough voter fatigue to have him sneak in to the conversation, and it could happen very quickly. Think about it like a presidential race or something, when a candidate comes out of nowhere. Like, it could be one of those situations, because that narrative, not giving up a hit for months as a reliever, is so rare and so unique and so unprecedented that could just get enough writers talking about it, which could then sway the narrative in his direction. But I also think he needs to get triple-digit strikeouts. That's a no-brainer. If he gets those 6 saves, though, that'll probably take care of itself. And I know the playoffs aren't supposed to factor in. I know we're not supposed to bring that in when it comes to Cy Youngs and MVPs and stuff. But they do. They just do. Just trust me, they do. Okay? It's hard not to watch these things. So if the Red Sox push through deep into the playoffs and he continues his dominance, that can only sweeten that deal, or at least keep him in the consciousness of baseball fans, so that they're calling for him to win something amazing, because he would be seen as such a big part of their run. Okay, so if he can do that, it would help it a little bit. Skubal might need to struggle one outing or two. That would probably really bring it closer, but not necessarily, the most important thing, because honestly, the Tigers have been about 500 over the last 60 games, 70 games, right? They've been fine, and he's been really good. But there's just not a lot of excitement. He's just kind of rinse and repeating. And when that's happening in the year, and you have a guy coming hard, from behind, that was a weird way to phrase that. Get your head out of the gutter. Just know that might get people more excited about him, okay? So, I think because Skubal won it last year, and if Chapman can do something a little bit extra special in this last 3 weeks of the season, finishing without giving up a hit or just a couple hits, getting 6 more saves, and getting to 100 strikeouts, he just might be able to sneak in. And for me, is Aroldis Chapman my Cy Young if all that happens? Sure, reliever till I die, baby. Let's go. Give it to the man. He's 37 years old, decided to have command for the first time in his career, and it is paying dividends. But as always, let me know what you guys think, because I'm sure you think a lot of stuff right now. But it's exciting. This is what baseball's all about. This is all I want. This is all I want to happen. I want it to happen so bad. Relievers forever. All right, moving on. Let's move on to our next little segment here. We are changing up how we do the news, but before we change up how we do the news, we have a word from the Foul Territory guys and a sponsor. Check it out.
FT fam, let's talk about Fair Harbor. And if you're listening, I hope that you watch this conversation at some point because we're doing show and tell, Kratz. Shorts, they can be used as a bathing suit. And the liner, which we call butter, is the game breaker. It's the playmaker because it's different.
You've worn shorts that are not like this, and the liner sucks. They are buttery on your butt.
I just came up with something for them. Your liner sucks. Get Fair Harbor liner. Seriously, give it a shot. I'm not just saying this. The butter analogy plays. And FT fam, you know we're hooking you up. fairharborclothing.com/Val. 20% off when you use the code FAL on your first purchase. Once again, that's fairharborclothing.com/FOUL for 20% off your first purchase and use promo code FAL.
For 20% off of your order, go to fairharborclothing.com/FOUL and use code FAL. Once again, that's 20% off your order with code FAL, FOUL. Thank you so much for sponsoring this show. Couple housekeeping things before we move on. Substack, still available, still out there, still ready to go. It is free to subscribe. You get a newsletter keeping you up to date on everything we release here on this channel, over on our second channel, which we will talk about in a moment, and a bunch of editorial stuff coming from producer DK, producer Henry, and more writers to come. I am working on doing some series that are going to live there, especially into this off season when we have a little bit more time, less real live reactions to react to. So use that QR code or just go to IamTrevorMay.com. And if you choose to subscribe using Moolah, you can get a direct DM to me, possibly get into a Q&A video, early access to certain YouTube videos, and there's gonna be a bunch more stuff coming after that as well. So we do appreciate it if you choose to do that. Also, I mentioned more Mayday, our second channel. We have come up with the plan for what is gonna live over there. There will be special only for that channel, fun videos where we go and check out the internet, what's going on in the baseball world. And also where a lot of the videos here, if you miss any episodes, there will be extra shows there as well. And also, Trevor Throws Cheese, my project where I'm trying to get in shape, throw hard, new episodes coming out very soon. You can go check that out, trevorthrowscheese.com, if you want to keep up with where I'm at in my progression. Though be patient with me because I have 3 days to update, so it's not quite updated yet. But it basically shows how I'm doing in my weight loss journey, attached to how many throws I'm making and where my high velo is, and then where you can keep up with the series moving forward. So trevorthrowscheese.com. Okay, let's get into the best of baseball. The best of baseball is now what we call the news. Okay, so I know that a lot of you out there get your baseball news from a lot of different sources. A lot of, especially Foul Territory as well is one of them, our parent channel. They like to cover everything that happened the day before, and they do it daily. I'm a once-in-a-week show, so we're going to try to move away a little bit from giving you a bunch of score updates and like who got what and did what, and we're going to pick our favorite shows or our favorite stories to cover each week. This can be compiled into a nice video, so if you are ever out or missing out on maybe what's happened behind the scenes, what are the more fun, like little cultural stuff, that is where you're gonna be able to find this. So this is the best in baseball, and we got 5 fun little stories, starting with my choice for the game of the day. And my game of the day yesterday was the Boston Red Sox versus the Sacramento Athletics, where this gentleman, one of the best names in Major League Baseball now, Connolly Early. Wow, I love that so much. Con Early. I don't even know what we can do for nicknames, but I need to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Connolly Early made his Major League debut throwing 5 innings and blanking the Athletics, which ended up being a full shutout all the way across. But we did do one thing and tied, became the second ever rookie in Red Sox history to strike out 10 plus, tying for the record, 11. He struck out 11 in those 5 innings on his way to his first Major League win. So congratulations, Connolly, early on that. That is really impressive. He was called up from Worcester. Yeah, that is how it's pronounced. Worcester, Massachusetts. Don't say it wrong. They don't like that. He was called up from Worcester when Dustin May, my cousin that's not my cousin, was sent on to the IL with some elbow injuries. That's not what I like to hear, but The only silver lining is Early got his shot, and he took advantage. He is only the fifth pitcher since the year 2000 to strike out 10 plus in his major league debut, joining Freddie Peralta, Matt Harvey, Aaron Harang. This is 10 Ks and no runs allowed. So it's Freddie Peralta, Matt Harvey, Aaron Harang, and Kazuhisa Ishii. So congratulations, Mr. Connolly. You got to participate in my game of the day. What a performance. Hats off to you, my friend. Let's talk a little bit about no-hitters getting lost in the ninth inning, because it happened twice to the same team in 3 days. Not to mention another guy who lost his in the eighth over for the Guardians, right? So we've had no-hitters in 2025. This is very important. I don't know if you remember this. I believe it was 2021 or 2. Can't remember which year, but there was like 7 by May. And there's been no-hitters this year. 0 no-nos. But a few guys have gotten close. Most recently, Monday, Tyler Glasnow threw 7 no-hit innings, was followed by Blake Trinan, who also didn't give up a hit. And then the first hitter of the Colorado Rockies in the ninth against Tanner Scott got a hit, which is sad because Tanner Scott has been going through it. He lost the no-hitter that night. But 2 nights before that, Yamamoto, Yoshinobu, not Yamamoto. Oh my goodness. Yoshi Yamamoto. The ace, proverbial ace for the LA Dodgers, had a no-hitter going into the ninth inning, and with 2 outs, Jackson Holliday up at the plate, a 2-1 pitch. He did this in Baltimore. Yikes. It's a deep drive. Andy Pages, a lot of people wanted him to try to jump for it, but I don't think he would have caught it either way. Not a way you want to lose your no-hitter. And unfortunately, Tanner Scott came into the end of that one and got the loss. 2 days later, he's the guy who blows the no-hitter. This is not something new. This is not new. This has been happening for years in baseball. And there are a bunch of guys who are unluckier than most. And I wanted to bring up some of them too. So you hate to see it. We want to see no-hitters, but we also want to see them hit the ball, I guess. So we got Framber Valdez, most recently, August of 6th of last year, had one going into the ninth with 1 strike away from the end of the game, gave up a 2-run homer to Corey Seager, which unfortunate to see, and another home run, breaking up a no-hitter with 2 outs in the ninth inning. 2 years before that, in the 2022, Cease also gave up a hit to Luis Arias, of all people, now teammates, on a 1-run pitch with 2 outs in the ninth inning, and he lost his no-hitter. But unfortunately, the next year, or the next 2 years later, he actually did get it against the Washington Nationals. Then there's the Armando Galarraga one, which this is the main reason we have replay now. This is Jim Joyce here, messing this call up to ruin his no-hitter. Very clearly out by half a step there at first. I believe that's Lou Marson. And still doesn't have a perfect game on his career. This ruined a perfect game. That stinks. This is Roy Halladay. You may not know this. In his second ever big league start in 1998, he no-hit the Tigers straight in 2/3 and then gave up a 2-out home run to Bobby Higginson. But never fear, he did eventually get his no-hitter and a perfect game later in his career, and his no-hitter happened to be against the Cincinnati Reds in the playoffs. I remember watching that in person, not in person, live, while I was at the gym for some reason. Honorable mention, don't forget, never mind, we're not there yet. Dave Stieb, maybe the most unlucky guy on the planet. You may not know this, but 3 times he took a no-hitter in the ninth inning. September 21st, 1988, September 30th, 1988, back-to-back starts. He took no-hitters into the ninth and lost them both times. That is nuts in 88. And then the next year, he got it 2 outs in the ninth again in 89 and got it blown up again by the Yankees, which is crazy. He also had another lost no-hit bid in 1985. So 4 times. 4 times. Fortunately, though, September 2nd, 1990, he eventually got his no-hitter. So, Dave Stieb, congratulations. Fortunately, it panned out at some point, right? You got it. But man, he's like the Buffalo Bills of pitchers, which just so happens to be the AAA team for the Blue Jays. Coincidence? Yes. Yes, it is. All right, an honorable mention real quick. We've talked about this before, but Rich Hill once became the second pitcher of all time to get into the 10th inning after throwing 9 no-hit innings. It was a scoreless game at that point. The first pitch he threw in the 10th, homer, walk-off. So imagine going from a no-hitter, 9 innings, you're doing something crazy because you only have 95 pitches, you throw one pitch, the game's over, and now you're like, wow, I got a loss. Wow, this sucks. So, it feels bad, but you know what? I was also part of a no-hitter. Don't mean to toot my own horn. It's actually a weird one, and the only one in Rochester Red Wings history. So, what I'm trying to say is, I did it. I started 3 innings, and threw 3 innings against the Durham Bulls. In Durham, we got rained out. 3 weeks later, I had been called up to the big leagues, and a man named Logan Darnell picked up the continuation of the game back in Rochester, where he threw 6 no-hit innings. So technically, a no-hitter was thrown, and I wasn't even there. And that is the only no-hitter that's ever been thrown for Rochester, which is a storied minor league franchise. So we got all kinds of weird connections to me going on today. Maybe that's because I wrote the show. Anyway, moving on from the no-hitter hitter stuff, let's check in on Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo has decided to retire as a Chicago Cub. The Cubs have announced Anthony Rizzo will retire as a Cub and will be honored this Saturday at Wrigley as the club hosts the Rays. This was reported originally by Jesse Rogers of ESPN. Shout out to you. 36-year-old Rizzo is arguably one of the most famous first basemen in Cubs history. He was part of the team in 2006. He caught the ball at first, throw from Montgomery, the pitcher. And he did the celebration when they eventually broke the curse of 108 years without a World Series. That was him. He caught that ball. Always remember him from stepping up in the box when he thinks a curveball is coming. One of the guys with the best smile in baseball, and we wish him all the best. I'm super happy that he gets to be part of this storied franchise for the rest of his life. He's going to be an ambassador for the team, so he's going to be around a lot. And that's the best case scenario, man. Going to be around baseball. Going to be known for the team that gave you the chance that you're going to be a part of the Winter World Series. There's just nothing better than that. I never got to do it, but he did. So congratulations and tip of the cap. Round of applause at home. Everyone clap. Everyone clap for your career, Anthony Rizzo, and enjoy retirement, man. It is fun. Just don't get fat. That's my one recommendation. All right, a couple more pieces here. Bubba Chandler, highly touted prospect. Bubba Chandler did not have a good first major league start, though he threw out of the bullpen 3 times before he made his start against the very, very good Milwaukee Brewers team, and he had to go across another phenom, Jacob Misiorowski, who we've talked about before. He got hit around a little bit. He threw 2 2/3 innings, giving up 9 earned runs, and the Pirates got routed to the tune of a 10-2 loss on Sunday. After starting his big league career with, I believe, 8 scoreless innings in the major leagues, he has given up 12 in his last 6 2/3. So if anyone knows about struggling in their debut as a starter, it's this guy. It'll be used as fuel, Bubba, and I'm still a big fan of his. I thought he would come up and give a little bit of a. I thought he would come up earlier and give a little bit of a run for Rookie of the Year. That is not coalesced, but electric stuff. He's going to be just fine, but just kind of sometimes guys are really good in their debuts, and other times they are not. All right, we are on our final part of the best in baseball, and I would be remiss if I didn't touch on this stupid thing that happened. A lot of you guys may know. This is known as Philly Karen, and there was a home run hit into the stands in the Marlins at the Marlins Park where the Phillies were playing the Marlins, and the ball bounced around. A guy ran over and caught it from a little bit down the row. He wasn't that close to it, but he ran down, got it, gave it to his son, and before he knew it, a woman came and yelled at him to give her the ball. Now, I'm not going to get on this woman because she's had enough of that, okay? But I will say, the etiquette is, if you don't catch it, you don't get it. And that's just the way it works. And if you do catch it and there's a kid around, you give it to them because it is what we call a core memory. It's called just being cool, being chill, being awesome, all right? And bad luck, all right? Now, that all said, just a bad luck. It's just a person being entitled. Guys, guess what? They're everywhere. There's entitled people everywhere. Just drive for a little bit. Just drive around and just watch all the entitled people just cut people off and try to get where they're going 5 seconds faster. They're everywhere, okay? It's just the run-of-the-mill, she thinks she deserves something that she doesn't deserve. It's okay. It's a very normal thing. But let's not try to ruin her life over something like this. It's not really that cool. Someone did make a very good point. They're like, if this happened to me, because I'll be honest, the guy gave his son his ball and then hugged him. I was like, as a father myself, like that was a really cool moment for them. And taking that away sucks. But if you're willing to give her the ball back, maybe just make her take it out of the kid's glove. Be like, sure, you can have it. You got to take it out of his glove, just so you know who you're taking it from him. Even if he doesn't deserve it or whatever. Like, that's not cool, okay? So let's not ruin this lady's life. It's just, in the words of a very wise man once said, some people suck. And that's just life. Sometimes we just got to be like, that person sucks. Everything's going to be okay. There was one interesting part of this thing that I wanted to mention before we move on, and that is the trading card company Blowout Cards has offered $5,000 and to her for this ball, sign it, I'm sorry, and give it back to the kid. We're beyond this now. Like that, don't give her $5,000. He has now more of a memory because he got to go meet Harrison Bader and get a bat and stuff. He's got a bunch of cool stuff now. It's been remedied. We don't need to do this. And this just feels very internet-y to me. I understand where you guys are coming from. It's not one of those situations. This isn't a moral quandary. This is just a breach of etiquette with an entitled person. That is it. So, yeah, does she suck for this? Sure. I always think about it this way. The people who are around her regularly have to be around her regularly. Let them handle it. All right? All right. And that has been the best in baseball. Is this the best thing in the world? No. But it happened, and I'm on the internet, and I wear glasses now. So I have to talk about it. All right? All right. Moving on. Once again. But I will only move on. That was a lie. I'm going to move on after I tell you all about this other new thing. I'll just let them tell you.
We are longtime fans of Omaha Steaks, and I am drooling looking at the website right now, featuring USDA certified tender steaks, and also during their Red Hot Sale event going on right now this fall, 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com, plus for the FT fam, an extra $35 off with promo code FOUL at checkout. You've been a big fan of Omaha Steaks since your early days as a pro.
Brings me back to my low A-ball days, because we used to survive on this. We get a big order at the beginning of the year, cook them on our little electric grill, can of peas, some mac and cheese. That was dinner for 4. We survived off Omaha Steaks. It still has a special place in my heart.
You thrived.
Well,
you guys ate like kings.
Yeah.
That's special. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Red Hot Sale event, and for an extra $35 off, promo code FOUL at checkout. 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code FOUL at checkout. See site for details. Dig in.
Once again, you can go to omahasteaks.com to get 50% off statewide during the Red Hot Sale event. By the way, Omaha Steaks are wonderful. They truly, truly are. I have had these before. You can also use your promo code FOUL at checkout for another 35% off. So, big sale plus FOUL, $35 off. Go check it out, omahasteaks.com. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Okay, going into our main story right now. Actually, our main story is not just one story. It is 7. Okay, these are my 7 storylines going into the playoffs, or at least for the next 3 weeks going into the playoffs. The things that I have been thinking about, and I think that a lot of people are thinking about as well, on how this stuff is going to shake out before we go into October baseball. So, 7 storylines I think that you guys should be paying attention to. So let's start with number 1. Can the Brewers get the job done this year. The Milwaukee Brewers have surprised a lot of people by having bouncing around, but most of the time, most of the season, they've had the best record in both leagues. And they've been doing it in a lot of very Breweries ways, right? They always have a closer coming out of nowhere. This year it's been Trevor McGill. In the past, it was Devin Williams. And before that, it was Josh Hader. They just keep getting closers coming out of nowhere. Now, Trevor Williams. I said Trevor Williams. Trevor McGill. Sorry, I'm getting my Trevors mixed up. There's a lot of us these days. I don't know what's going on. Trevor McGill. He is hurt. He's going to come up in a minute. But I think that they have the best chance they've had in a while, and for a few reasons. Okay, recently, in the last 8 years, they've made the playoffs 7 times, winning the division 5 times. Okay, that's a lot of success. That is Astros level success. That is kind of like the Dodgers win the title all the time. And when you see your team go into the playoffs and get bounced early almost every time, they've lost 3 times in the wild card, for example, in those 7 appearances in the division series. I believe they've gone to 1 NLCS in those times, right? So we've not gotten to the World Series. And that's what the fans really want, okay? So that has not gone well, but they've never won a World Series either. They're one of 5 teams that never won the World Series. The Seattle Mariners, the Milwaukee Brewers, San Diego Padres, the Colorado Rockies, and the Tampa Bay Rays. None of them have won it. Interestingly enough, 40% of those teams originated in Seattle. So we have the Seattle Mariners, and then the Brewers are originally the Seattle Pilots from 1970, 1971, and then they emigrated over to Milwaukee, and then they never won a World Series. So Seattle, there's something about baseball in Seattle. I don't know what it is. It's not good, though. Okay, so they are a little different, and I think their chances are made better because of these reasons. 1, this gentleman, Freddie Peralta, is a bona fide ace. The guy is filthy. He has been throwing really well. No one even talks about him, and he should be in the conversation, or at least in like the top 5 to 7 for the Cy Young. He is a bona fide ace. He is their game 1 starter. He has it up here. He turns it off. He's one of those guys who throws 92, and they're like, oh, we're going to hit him today. He's like, no, 98. Like, he's one of those guys. Okay, he knows when to turn it on. He knows when to pull it back. So Freddie Peralta is a bona fide number 1, more so than he has been in the past. Brandon Woodruff, he's back, and he is shoving, and he is good. He's 6-2. He's made 11 starts. He's healthy. He's a great number 2. Now, the one question mark is, who starts game 3? Does Jacob Mizrachi have enough innings? Are we going to go with Quinn Priester? Are we going to go with a combination of the other guys? We're going to bullpen game this because we have a strong bullpen. Okay? And also, one other question mark, if we're going to have short leashes, especially for Woodruff and for whoever throws the third game, if we have short leash, who's going to be the bridge guys? Are we going to just like go full bore on Shelby Miller? Who else is going to get this job? Is Ashby going to be the guy we bring in? Like, that is one question. But again, that question is there for literally every team. So like, that's not unique to them. Another thing that I think is a big positive for them is a healthy Christian Yelich. 27 homers this year. He has been more or less not had a lot of the back that has plagued him in the past part of the equation. And so that is all very interesting. And then their team construction, a whole bunch of righty and lefties and platoon pats, and they do not strike out. They hand the bat off to the next guy, and they do that very well. It gives me shades of the Kansas City Royals 2015. Very hard to strike out, very pesky. And even the most dominant pitchers were having to work so hard to shut this team down. If you can do that in the playoffs and do it effectively for first games, get going in that process, which by all accounts, they're going to get their bye too. So they're going to go to the division series at this moment, which is a really good thing for them. They probably need that. If they can do that, I think they put themselves in a very good position to actually make a long run into the playoffs, which I think everyone wants to see. Then we have storyline 2. Did we underestimate the AL? Is the AL better than we thought it would be? And does the AL have a legit chance to take home a World Series this year? And the short answer for me is yes, but not because the AL has maybe overperformed. I just believe that the NL maybe underperformed based on our predictions. I think we were so high on the NL going into the season that it makes this happen. right? Where they're just playing pretty good. It's pretty even, so therefore we underestimated them, okay? So going into this year, we had really high hopes for the Dodgers, right? The Padres, the Phillies, and the Mets, all for the most part have kind of panned out. I mean, the Mets aren't quite as good as we thought they would be. They've faded a lot towards the end, but the talent's still there. You can see it. Like, you can see if they go on a run, they're going to be very good. The pitching kind of hasn't, like, Minaya and Montas have really not factored in at all, right? We were hoping they'd come back. They haven't really come back. There's still time, but it's getting late here, right? So anyway, not to talk about the Mets all the time, but the Phillies are just as good as we thought they'd be. The Dodgers are underperformed, but San Diego's good. But we also thought San Francisco would be right there. We thought Arizona would be right there. We thought there might be 4 teams really battling out of the AL West. That hasn't really coalesced, so those 2 teams underperformed. We thought the Cubs would be really good, but we didn't really think the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Milwaukee Brewers have been a nice surprise, which shouldn't be because they've won, like I just mentioned, they made the playoffs 7 of the last 8 years, so I don't know why we all did that. But St. Louis didn't really bounce back. The Reds are still not taking a step forward. They're just 500. Like a couple of these teams we thought would be in the running kind of really didn't coalesce. On the flip side, I think we've had some AL teams kind of overperform. We all thought the Red Sox would be good. That's how it turned out. We thought the Yankees would be pretty good. That's turned out. But we didn't know the Blue Jays would be this good. I had them taking 4th. No, I had them taking last, right? I think they make up for the Orioles not being as good. The Astros are better than we all thought they would be. They're in first place again. Mariners are about where we thought they would be. But the Guardians are a little better. The Royals are a little better. All these teams have hung around where we thought they would fade. And I think there are more teams that could make a run in the AL than we previously thought there would be. And the Tigers are better than we thought they would be. You know, we thought, first or second with the Twins. No, they're in first, and they're in first pretty handily. And they have a very good front of the rotation that can go on a run here. I have this feeling in my chest, like it's going to be the Tigers get to the World Series this year, or the Red Sox, or the Blue Jays. Like one of those teams is going to make this run. I feel like it's like the Phillies on the other side. I don't know why. It just feels like one of those years where a wild card team, both sides are going to meet. So do I think we underestimated the American League a little bit? Yes, I think this is a much more even bracket than maybe even last year was. So I'm excited about that. Let's talk a little bit about the AL wild card, because there's 1,000 teams in there for it. Now, we have the playoff structure, 12 teams. This is what happens. When it happens, when we get to the end of the year, there's a bunch of teams that are like 70 and 70. They're going to be within 4 games, but it's getting tight, and it's getting tight in a big way. So the Mariners cannot win on the road for some reason. Actually, I know why. Because they have terrible, terrible road trips to end the year. But they win all their games at home. So it's kind of like evening out a little bit. They had a 5.5 game lead in that wild card. Now it's 1.5 game. I believe they only have 1 game on Texas, but they're only 1 game behind the Astros. So it's legitimately possible that both the Rangers and the Mariners hop over the Astros. The Astros could go from being in first place to not being in the playoff very quickly. And that is what we're working with here. We now have the Cleveland Guardians have now hopped the Royals to be right behind and within striking distance. They're going for a sweep today over the Royals. They're all playing each other. But that is one big thing about this dynamic is when all the teams play each other, no one can really push hard without sweeping, right? Like, you can't make a lot of ground up if you're all playing the same teams and everyone's just kind of going 500 or just like splitting series. So there has to be some dominant baseball played, which isn't usually how baseball works, which is interesting. So, but the Rangers are right there too. So who do I think can squeeze in? I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that the Mariners can hop the Astros, right? Right now, how it's kind of shaken out is the Yankees are going to play the Red Sox in the wild card round, and the Astros and the Mariners going to play. I would like that to be mixed up, but now how the records are, it's feeling like it's just going to be that. The one thing that I think is interesting is, can the Rangers push in? And if they do push in, who they push out. So here's my bold prediction on how I think this AL wild card shakes out. I think the Rangers push in, and I think the Astros get pushed out. Wishful thinking? Probably. Am I being biased? Probably. But it's the internet, and you can do stuff like that. I just think it would be interesting. Let's talk about the NL West. That's not the right thing. Let's talk about the NL West. Padres, Dodgers. Dodgers currently have a 2-game lead over the Pods, and they have won the season series. So, in my opinion, the Los Angeles Dodgers will end up winning the division, and the Padres will be the wild card team from there. But I do believe both these teams make it. It would take an astronomical fall apart for the both of them, but like the Padres have to win 3 more games now than the Dodgers, because if they tie, the Dodgers then get the higher seed, so it wouldn't really matter. But there's a couple of narratives going. So I think that's what happens. But the big things for me are, can the Dodgers stay healthy? Are we going to lose 2 relievers? Or are we going to lose 2 starters just randomly again? Is that going to happen? But if not, is this the Tyler Glass now that we're going to get in the playoffs? He's thrown 7 strong innings, 2 games in a row, 2 starts in a row, one of which was no hits. So Glass now, huge part of this. Blake Snell is still, you don't want to face Blake Snell in the playoffs. Yamamoto is in the conversation for Cy Young and just threw 8 2/3 hitless also. But the big question mark is, who the hell is going to close games for these guys? Because Tanner Scott is going through it, like I mentioned earlier in the show. He cannot get those last 3 outs. So is it Shohei? Do we see if we can get Shohei to get the last 3 outs of a game in the playoffs? Do we just lose our DH and pitch hit for the rest of the game? What do we do? That's going to be an interesting trade-off, because the Shohei Ohtani rule does not apply when he comes out of the bullpen, only when he starts. Because you have to say he's a 2-way player before he goes out. So there's not going to be a new rule implemented. I mean, I won't put it past him, but there won't be. Is that what they do? I don't know if Trinan and Scott are enough. We'll have to see. A lot of injuries out there. And then on San Diego side, Michael King coming back is huge for them, but what can he provide down the stretch? Can Dylan Cease finish the last 4 starts strong, because he's struggling? He's got a 4.7 on the year, a 4.4 in the last 7 starts. Dylan Cease is going to have to be a big part of this moving forward. And Yu Darvish, what are we going to get out of our starting pitching? I love their lineup. I love their bullpen, but they need to have the lead. And the starting pitching is the weakest thing for them, which was not something I anticipated. So do I think the Dodgers have a slight advantage? Yes, they will end up winning the West, most likely. But anything can happen, and it just takes those few things to tighten up. Number 5, losing Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Do they have enough starting pitching? In my opinion, absolutely. Christopher Sanchez is now their number 1. Ranger Suarez was dialed in last night against the Mets, absolutely cutting them up, just hitting the edge of the zone all the way around. He has been finessing people to death this year. He has had one of the sneakiest great years of anybody. That's 2 great starters. Taijuan Walker has thrown really well as of late. And their back into the bullpen is now shored up with Duran and Kerkering cleaning things up. So I feel good about this team. Aaron Nola, also very strong outing 2 days ago. He's looking more in shape after really struggling coming off the IL. His command looked really, really good, and that's what you need. That guy will not be fazed by anything. So do I think the Philadelphia Phillies have enough pitching? Sure. Yes, I do think they do have enough pitching, and they got guys who've done it before. I think these guys are still one of the best put-together teams, even without Zach Wheeler. Assuming the Yankees make the playoffs, can Aaron Judge do more in October than he has recently? And this is not looking good. It's not looking good for him. He unfortunately historically hits worse in years he wins the MVP, and this year he is on track to win another one. Here's his statistics for career in the playoffs in 22 and 24 when he won the MVP in those years. In 23 games, 100 plate appearances, he has 14 hits, 5 home runs. He's hitting 165 with a 649 OPS. So can he do more this year in the playoffs? Unfortunately, if their lineup is constructed similarly that has been constructed in the past, he's still easily pitched around, and they will probably do that to him again, unfortunately. So unless he runs into guys making mistakes to him, it's looking to be the same environment that he's been in the past. And if you can avoid Aaron Judge killing you, you have a better chance of beating the Yankees. So I'm not convinced. I don't see anything being glaringly different. But at the end of the day, it's up to him to prove me wrong. And to be honest, I don't mind if he does. And in our 7th storyline for getting ready for the playoffs. These were the stats I was talking about before. That's Aaron Judge overall. Wow. In the 7th, are the Cubs the real deal, and can Pete Crow Armstrong get it going a little bit more? They've had a couple blows recently. Kyle Tucker recently went on the 10-day IL for that calf that's been bugging him. Now, 10 days isn't the rest of the season, so there's still a chance. And 10 days usually is a good amount of time to get over calf. So I'm confident that he will be back, but will he get enough ABs to be sharp? How much? Because he is the middle of that lineup. They need Kyle Tucker to be raking. Though they still have a good offense. Seiya Suzuki's still hitting the ball well. Matt Shaw has come on big time in the second half here. Here's some statistics differences for him. Pre-All-Star break, Matt Shaw, the third baseman, 63 games. He had 41 hits. He hit 198 with a 556 OPS and 2 home runs. Post-All-Star break, in 48 games, he has 9 home runs. He's hitting 270 with an 875 OPS. So some major changes. That guy has changed his batting stance like crazy. Go look that up. It's pretty fun. Matt Shaw's been a big deal, but can Kyle Tucker do it? And Pete Crow Armstrong, can he turn on the bat a little bit? Pre-All-Star break, 265 with an 847 OPS. Post-All-Star break, 223 with a 645 OPS. Strikeout numbers are pretty much the same. Chase numbers the same. Walks the same. Everything's the same. He's just not getting the quality of contact he got before. This could be the league figuring him out. He had 25 home runs before the All-Star break. He's only hit 3 after. So him getting hot, not super necessary, but if he does, this is going to be one scary team to face. And the defense has stayed there. So all things considered, doesn't get a hit. He's still going to run everything down in center and make it easy. So are the Cubs the real deal? I think they got their starting 3 figured out. And they got their starting 3 figured out with Shota, Matt Boyd, and Cade Horton has been great this year. Those are the big 3 they're going to pitch in their 3 games. That was not something we anticipated them having at the All-Star break even. I feel like they're pretty solid there right now. Who's going to close games? Don't really know. There's a lot of question marks there, but their offense needs to carry them. So those are our 7 storylines that I'm paying attention to and things that I think need to happen for these teams to go where they want to go, the Promised Land, the World Series. Let me know what you think. Let me know what other stories we should cover in the future, because we still have 3 weeks left in the season, and that's it. Okay, we're going to jump over to Trevor May Baseball. We're running a couple minutes late, so I'm going to take a 2-minute hiatus just here for the moment, and I will see you. I'll see you in just a minute over on Trevor May Baseball. Head over there, YouTube, if you're there, and if you are here on Twitch, you just hold tight for me. And we'll see you before you know it.